want.
Yeah, that's.
And
All right, so I'm gonna put this in.
I know, I'm like, that's all the business end. I just get to sit here.
so then we don't.
Oh, boy.
Good evening, Amber, all the way down there.
there.
Oh, boy.
Hmm?
What'd you do?
I was thinking mail.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to stuff in the mail.
Like
somewhere,
you have
so
some
I can
mail.
get it.
That way there's technically on the agenda.
I was
All right.
boning up on my charter today,
Yep,
trying to
all right, well,
more familiar.
welcome to the July 3rd, 2023 regular meeting of the Lyman Board of Selectmen. This meeting is a public proceeding and is being recorded. I'd like to say thank you all for being here on the eve of the day we celebrate our independence. That's pretty awesome. I guess would you all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we need that? Do we need this?
No, that would probably not be.
We determined we don't need that.
We don't need that. No, that's fine. So we're good to go with that.
So I don't have to ask.
No.
So we'll move on just to item 1, special offers presentation, the select board approval for year-end 2024 salaries.
Speaker. I think it's just this one. This is town property.
I can't wait to look into that.
Yep.
Well, utilize Jeanette.
Oh, yes, please. I
Report
didn't even see her here.
You are.
I want
to guide him.
Guide us through what.
Okay, so what you have in front of you
Yes.
is what you guys we had talked about. Is what we had talked about during budget season. So they had added more money to the budget of $19,373. So I need to know how I'm paying people this week. Am I paying off of these numbers? You need to approve this then,
Okay.
if that's what you want to do because of the way town meeting went. So I wasn't sure how you wanted to go about it. And I have payroll coming up Wednesday and Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
The line all the way to the right is proposed and anything recently negotiated.
Okay, except for the town manager's position, everything else we had agreed upon based on the survey and the minimum, mid-range, and high. We had rated things and agreed.
And that's exactly the same as what we did at budget time.
Okay, so there's really, we're not reinventing the wheel here at all.
Can I ask a question when you're, I'm sorry. Could I ask you a question, please?
Please.
Does this include the raises that we had talked about for the transfer station employees because of the survey?
Yes, it does.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And is the money in here for the town manager position as well?
Yes, it is. It's your
And-
very first line.
And so there is money left over
If you look at
at the
bottom,
56,897?
correct.
Thank you.
Thank you for asking.
Are these fringed out? Are these all with benefits? Over far right?
So the benefits line is on the bottom.
Yep.
If you look, I added, you have total salaries of 631,063. Are you seeing that?
Yep.
And then underneath it,
Yep.
benefits of approximately 266,437.
Mhm.
I have 2 positions that are in question, so I don't know exactly what that number is going to be for next year.
Mhm.
And then, we have FICA. And I broke down where we're getting the additional money, 19,373 from town meeting and the 37 from the manager line.
Okay.
Just ask a question. So the CEO assistant on the far column, it's $21.
Oh, that didn't come over correctly. So that should be 27.3.
Okay.
Sorry, thanks, Amber.
No, that's all right.
Jeanette, does that impact the bottom line math?
Yes, it would.
Okay.
Good catch, Amber.
Thank you.
She was always good on that.
I was gonna say it. I just let you-
Well, you were probably just above me,
Yeah.
still looking.
Yeah.
So your new number is 658, 342, 22.
So that leaves.
29,650.
So it leaves.
And then that's like, right.
There you go, president.
At least 29,576.
Let's-
Do these numbers include if somebody's going to get a step raise later on in the year?
Yes.
Okay.
Jeanette, just to be clear, that includes the extra 20 hours at the transfer station, correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
New- Motion.
All at once, the whole thing? We don't have to do line item by line item, do we?
No, just, just approve what's written with the change I just made.
Okay,
And I'll move forward and make that happen with the salaries.
okay. Well, we'll start out and we'll see if there's any discussions as we go along. I make a motion, we accept the FY 2024 salaries as reported out and agreed to upon on Jeanette's report.
Put the total salary number on.
Of
$658,342.22, correct?
$242.22.
Hey,
Including benefits of 266, 347.
second that.
Ah, let's go. Any discussion on that?
Did you get a second?
Did you get a second?
Oh, I didn't hear it,
You
sorry.
want to discuss it?
No,
Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Okay.
Aye.
Great.
Thank you.
Good. Now we can-
Excuse me, let's move on to item number 2. Next, item A, Peggy? No?
Hi, guys. Good evening. My name is Peg McDonald, and I'm happy to say that I have lived in Lyman all my life. It really is a great place to live.
Amen.
I'm honestly not sure if Lyman's growing pains started within the past couple years or if that's just when I started paying attention. However, it was when I started to get involved. The town needed help in the form of volunteers, and I just so happened to have a little bit of that commodity of time. I watched recorded meetings, started paying attention to the town's website, and then I took the big plunge and joined Charter. Around September of 2022, the select board clerk reached out to me and said that the board was trying to get a feel for what they had for town-owned properties and what the values might be. She explained that they were not currently trying to market any of these properties, however, trying to get a feel for what they had and what the values might be and so on and so forth. She explained, again, they were not trying to market the properties. In my capacity as a realtor, I was happy to help. In my free time, I spent approximately 2 months hunting down these properties to get eyes on them, walking them, and comparing them to locally sold comps. I prepared a report and I sent it to the board. Shortly after, Select Board member Dave Alves reached out to thank me and asked about the process of using a realtor for these properties, inquiring if it would be beneficial for the town to do so as opposed to just a sealed bid process. I shared my opinion that it could be beneficial because the values assessed by a realtor would be more reflective of the market at that time, as opposed to the board just setting them themselves. I also said that I felt the properties would be marketed to a much larger audience on the MLS, and in turn stood the possibility of garnering a higher offer for those properties. Dave again graciously thanked me for my time on the project, and that was the end of it. It wasn't until this last town meeting that I realized that there was a rub on the issue of using a realtor. However, I stood and I shared the same opinion that I shared with Selectman Alves when he called me last year. After the meeting, I started hearing things. Believe half of what you see and none of what you hear. That's what I was going with. Until June 22nd, when I heard from our town's CEO that John Tibbetts had been in her office and told her not to trust Peg McDonald because I was, quote, in Dave Alves' pocket. His uneducated implication was that I was somehow doing this for a commission that I intended to receive, and perhaps that one of the selectmen was going to make sure that I got these listings. Let me state now for the record, I have never sold a town-owned property, nor would I if asked. I decided before I did the valuation that selling town-owned properties would simply not be worth throwing myself to the wolves. Clearly, I was right. As a licensed realtor, I owe fiduciary duties to my clients. My integrity is essential to the process of selling real estate. I am highly offended at the suggestion that my principles and standards could be bought and paid for. I'm even more offended that it came from the mouth of not just an elected official, but a neighbor. I never even got the courtesy of a phone call to ask where I stood on the matter. Lyman's new town charter requires that a code of ethics be signed by elected officials. Tonight, I am here to ask that John Tibbetts be required to sign that code of ethics. I would also ask that a copy of this letter be added to the minutes of this meeting to serve as a record of his actions, so that should they continue, he would not be allowed to serve on our town's boards and/or committees in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Peggy.
Get you. Yeah, item B, Dave Alves.
Hello all. Dave Alves, 52 Island Way. Dear Board, this is a complaint against John Tibbetts. It has come to my attention that John Tibbetts, an elected official, has slandered my name again. This time I am not an elected official and I have rights. While I was serving as selectman, you may recall John Tibbetts claiming I had Patty McKenna in my back pocket. The reference was one that I paid for her giving me building permits. This, of course, was not true, but the truth does not matter to John Tibbetts. It is his intention, in my opinion, to get out false information on someone he does not like or disagrees with to achieve the result he desires. I've attached a complaint form from Patty McKenna, dated 4/13/2021. The board at this time did not reprimand John in any way. We lost a great public servant over this and other lies spread about her. I have also included her incident report as well as a signed affidavit from the road commissioner at the time on 4/27/21. That is what John Tibbetts was falsely accusing me and others of doing. I sat with the new building inspector while I was working on a permit last week. Brenda indicated to me that John Tibbetts was in her office and told her that I had Peggy McDonald in my back pocket. He said that he did not care if she told me. I take this as a public threat and a form of intimidation. John Tibbetts is still using his stature as a public official to slander. I feel he is trying to bait me into a confrontation. His accusations is inferring that I was going to do something illegal with the town land. Just because Peggy and I agreed that the town-owned land should be documented in research for the upcoming review of the comprehensive plan. Peggy is of the highest quality real estate broker agent today. She has the highest of ethical standards. For John Tibbetts to slander her for no reason should be condemned by the board in public. How many more high-quality, great volunteers is John Tibbetts going to slander, and intimidate? I feel the board should sanction him prior to his participation on the budget committee. I also feel the board should take a vote and refuse to accept any and all committee or board applications from John. Why? John Tibbetts, with all his, in my opinion, unethical behavior, has a conflict of interest on the budget committee. It appears when John Tibbetts was chairman of the select board, he authorized without a vote and against the charter, letting his vice chair change the scope of work on a job after it was awarded. See my Walker Road report. The vice chair eliminated 4 to 5 culverts he deemed unnecessary. This was a cost to the taxpayer, approximately $20,000 to $30,000 according to the schedule of values provided by the contractor. Instead of this money going back to the taxpayer, John Tibbetts, as chair, agreed to pay the contractor the savings of money for the deleted culverts for some work the contractor said was extra. The extra work appeared to be work that should have been identified before the contract was issued during the diligence period. The documents clearly state process with regards to verify and field conditions. This was a loss to the taxpayer, but it gets worse. There has been a property that has had a negative effect from the deleted culverts that were unilaterally removed from the scope of work by Vice Chair and approved by the Chairman, John Tibbetts. This is in my Walker Road report. I submitted and have attached for your review. The town will have to make this landowner whole by fixing John Tibbetts and his vice chair's decision to modify the scope of work and not following the engineered drawing the town paid for. How will this get paid for? In my opinion, there could be allocated road maintenance funds and have a new road commissioner fix the problem while not knowing the questionable history. Of course, this is speculation on my part, but when money is used for something, even if it was for additional gravel and/or making the roadway culverts longer, it was not intended the use of the money on the schedule of values and should not have been an extra at all. And in my opinion, this is misallocation of funds. Another $20,000 to $25,000 will be needed to fix the budget problem. The same two men are now on the budget committee overseeing and making recommendations. In my opinion, is a conflict of interest. The taxpayer should be informed of this behavior publicly. In my opinion, it is time for the board to discipline John Tibbetts for his past and ongoing, in my opinion, unethical behavior. I see that John Tibbetts is out there trying to make his statement not so harmful. And he may want to defend his past actions, but I believe he's going to spread more misinformation about me. So I'll add a few more things for the board to think about when it comes time for this elected official. This is John Tibbetts' sixth complaint by 5 different people. During his time in office and right up until now, I have followed some of the misinformation and achievements he has made. While chair, he did not follow the charter, then would falsely accuse others of the same. His lack of vision to see the value in Cousins School. I believe he sold the school undervalued. He ridiculed and slandered, in my opinion, past employees, causing more than one resignation. He walked out an employee without an exit interview, causing many problems during the revaluation process of the town. Then falsely accused others of chaos in the town hall, he helped create. He worked against any forward progress of past boards to keep an illusion of wrongdoing. Potential misappropriations of funds on Walker Road project. Potential future, what I would call a cover-up of money needed to fix their mistake on Walker Road now that he is on the budget committee. It appears to have put an illegal moratorium on a specific piece of land in town because he did not like the owner and wanted to help his friends. He changed ordinance to hurt landowner by changing design criteria on a dirt road. He changed ordinance on how many homes could be in a subdivision on a dirt road, all to affect one landowner. The ordinance that were changed is not the issue. It was how they got it changed, with emergency meetings and moratoriums. John was on the board for 9 years. 7 of them was chair. Bugging Up Beach in the ball field ran in a deficit of $50,000 to $80,000 per year, it's been reported. Total burden to the taxpayer. While John Tibbetts was chairman and on the fire commission and helped with the budgets of the town and fire department, a business in town, I will not mention their name, appears to have cost the taxpayers approximately $80,000 in first responder charges spanning a period of 3 to 4 years that should have been paid by the business. John Tibbetts is now trying to be put on the ORC with his buddy Dave Dulong. John has shown over the course of at least my 3 years of experience, he helps his friends and hurts his enemies. I also understand that he is looking to write the new comprehensive plan. I have many things to say, but I choose not to at this time. But in my experience, while trying to work with John Tibbetts, I did not see his ability to be proactive and forward-looking towards the future needs of the town, but will use his time reflecting and deciding what he likes and does not like what works and does not work for his friends, with no concern for the residents or the town as a whole. Thank you. And I will answer any question put to me.
If I could just let the board know, because I heard they request you to put it in the meeting minutes, I would need you guys to decide that. Like, I don't just put things in the meeting minutes unless you guys decide you want to add attachments to it.
I would also request that mine be say.
And you don't have to attach things in the minutes. I mean, it's in the agenda packet.
Yep.
And you got an email from John earlier. That's in the meeting. But just so, those two are clear also.
Not being transparent.
Mhm.
Oh, my.
In full transparency, I think we should put both of these complaints in the minutes.
Is
Got a
what you
motion.
That is a motion.
said? Can
I'll second that motion.
Yes, you can.
I just got them? All right.
Aye.
Can
Sure
we,
thing.
He's okay, but she's still, she's okay, she'll be here in a minute.
All right.
Sorry, that was my look, by the way. I wasn't like looking at you weird. I saw Amber rush out and I saw you pause. It
Yeah.
wasn't because of anything you said.
thank you, Michelle.
It's scary.
Ah, oh my God. Let's move on to item C, public input. Anybody in the attendance have 5 minutes to address the board? Yeah.
Good evening, Joe Wagner, 26 Day Road. I believe the Select Board and the Planning Board received an MMA email notification about compliance reimbursement money from the State Department of Economic and Community Development for LD 2003. That was this email that came out. And it provides up to $5,000 for towns such as Lyman for attorneys' fees, staff time, and costs associated with publishing notice and conducting public meetings with respect to 2003. What I suggest is that all of the boards that address this document the time that they put onto it so that a request for reimbursement from the state can be made. For example, back on May 26th, we had a joint meeting with the ORC, the Planning Board, with Lee J. Feldman of the Southern Maine Planning and Development Commission about LD 2003. So that time, I think we can be reimbursed for.
Sorry.
The meeting coming up on Thursday by the Ordinance Review Committee, which will be dealing with this, also reimbursement there as well. Now, Mr. Feldman told us that of the 3 major components of 2003, only one pertains to Lyman because we're not designated as a growth area by the U.S. Census Bureau, and we don't have public water. What does apply to us is the accessory dwelling unit provisions. And I believe that you provided the CEO with some directions on that. One thing that could be addressed on that is short-term rentals. I don't foresee major alterations to our language either in the land use ordinance or in the shoreland either. If anything, what comes to mind is that we don't specifically define an ADU as something that could be separate from the principal dwelling. 2003 says, yes, you do. So that's, I think, a minor issue. Setbacks still apply. Acreage requirements still apply. Now, LD 1706 was signed into law, and that now sets a deadline for us for July 1 of next year to be in compliance. That still leaves us a little bit of a gap because the new charter requires ordinances to be approved in a general election. And the next one on coming up would be November of next year. However, one thing that was suggested by one of the planning board members is that if we do come up with adjustments to the ordinances that comply with 2003 to the satisfaction of the select board by an emergency ordinance, you could put it in place in the interim at such time that the town can address it in full. I don't know if you want to go that route, but that's a possibility. Okay.
And I got some catching up to do.
Workshop was recorded.
Secondly, I'd like to ask the board to reconsider reestablishing the hiring committee. With the new charter, it places the entire burden of screening applicants and hiring town employees on one single individual. Consider that the process for hiring the town manager was a group select board process. And while I don't believe that the hiring committee, although constituted, was involved in the town manager vetting, it's my understanding that the hiring committee was recently involved in vetting candidates for the admin clerk and the road commissioner positions. And I'm sure the candidates that they recommended, that's a matter of public record. On the agenda tonight is Lyman's tax acquired properties. And I suggest the board consider consulting with Habitat with any possible rehab of buildings or the building of a new home on a buildable lot. Rusty can attest that I have a connection here with the Restore over at Kennybunk, volunteer over there. And Habitat is currently building a number of homes, 5 of them, on Norman Avenue in Sanford. Let me see. Also on tonight's agenda are 4 applications, I believe, to fill 1 alternate position on the planning board. Now, I believe current members Cecile Dupree and Kelly Demers re-upped. So that leaves a vacancy by Paul Boucher's resignation. Now, in the past, the practice was for the planning board to have a conversation with the applicants and forward its recommendation to the select board, not as a veto, but as advisory in nature. I was wondering if that practice would be continued. And since there are 4 applicants for 1 particular position, I was wondering if, as I think Vicki, you suggested, that they be considered in the order of their submission, chronologically. And finally, again, I request that the link to the town proceedings on YouTube be placed on the helpful links on the town website. I once again had difficulty trying to find the recordings of recent town proceedings there. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Mr. Wagner. Joe, see it personal.
You're right.
All right. Anybody else want to address the board? All right. Moving on. Mail, community library. They have from the treasurer what they're looking for the annual budget. Fiscal year 2023, starting July 1st, which is a couple days ago.
I thought this was a thank you for the appropriation. No, that's, okay.
The deepest appreciation, yes.
It's just saying like, thanks for
Yeah,
approving us.
that's what I thought, but
Yep.
now I,
Because we already proved all that.
The town approved it.
I love having the town library.
mhm. They're asking.
Okay. That's right. I'm gonna move on from all of this. We have Roger Hooper's denial, I guess, his turning down for the budget committee. Excuse me.
Yeah, we skipped one. Yep.
Oh, yep. All right, being sent for the executive boards of the Pine and Kennebunk Pond Homeowners Association. As a select board meeting expresses to intent a run of a commercial business out of the home, swimming and small craft lessons. The concerns. But I don't even. What the outcome is. It would be preferable as recommended as a select board meeting as such a business be conducted at the Bunganut facility instead of the home. And it's signed off by the committee, the code enforcement and the planning board committee. Did I get that right?
Not code enforcement. So it's just the Kennybunk Pond homeowners, the Pines of Kennybunk Pond Homeowners Association.
Oh, this was addressed to, sorry.
Yeah. Sorry. This is our
Thank
copy.
you. Yeah. Next up, York County Sheriff's Bulletin. I took a little time and read through this. There's a lot of interesting stuff in here. It's worth a read if anybody can get a hold of this bulletin. It's pretty interesting to see what's going on.
Can we just go back to this one real quick?
Yeah.
This was addressed to planning board and code enforcement. This was just our carbon
That's why I got the
copy.
code enforcement part
This is
on
our
there.
notification of
This
it.
is just our awareness of it.
Yep.
So
Thank you.
Brenda's aware, right? Okay. Making sure.
She was here. Is she
I just
here?
don't want anyone to think that we're not taking action on something. That's all. I want to make sure I wasn't supposed to
Thank you.
do more with that.
Good, because I was thinking the same thing.
Sorry.
Oh, thank you.
You had another mail item, right?
You have two pieces here.
I only went to D.
Oh, you had another mail item that I gave you when we came in.
Oh, that one.
Are we going to read any of
Want
this
to?
for the record?
I am a little confused. So your charter says things can't be added to the agenda once it's posted. I mean, except for extenuating circumstances, but then you have to explain the reason why in your minutes, why you're adding it to the agenda. And I'm fine that, like, if you want to do that right now, you can, or we can put it on the next agenda. So it
That's
will
what
get
I was thinking.
in
It's the
the
next
agenda, because our
agenda.
agendas are also posted online. People can view them.
I thought it was on the agenda, item number 2, A and B, and they want to be, put their complaints on.
Oh, no,
On
we're
the
talking
agenda.
about the mail,
In
Okay.
addition,
Yeah,
Okay,
so, yeah, in addition to
like the
that.
letter that you have and then the letter.
yeah.
that's totally up to you guys. I just, because I don't have that, so usually I
I-
put the agenda on the web.
My personal, I felt we should have waited until the next meeting to do this, just because
That's fine.
it wasn't, the time period wasn't there.
Mr. Chair.
Oh my God, don't throw that at me.
Take responsibility sometime.
It's gonna
But
mean something.
That's
Come
what
on.
I truly, when I received this sitting here in front of me, when I had no clue that, I mean, I previously read it, but I didn't know it was coming here like this, so.
Perfect.
I feel that we should wait until the next meeting so that we can properly do this.
Done.
Boy, things change in 10 years. We used to read all the mail.
But wouldn't you want your public to be able to
Didn't we have
access
another
that?
Yeah,
She wanted.
no, I get it.
She wanted-
it's just
she had
different than
something
what-
like that.
No, it'll be handled the same
That was
way.
how you got things on the record back then. You
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Write it into the tape
you
recorder.
just said it. Yeah, you said it into the tape. We didn't have these fancy things over here with lights on them.
All right, so with that, I feel better. Yes, good. I'm glad we moved on from that. Let's go on to item 3, review and approve meeting minutes from 6/5/2023. This is the one,
I'll be recusing myself.
this is the one that we want to table
Right, did
until,
you get my
I
email
did.
from MMA? So basically, I know some of you weren't present, you can watch the video and then just make a statement, you watch the video, you're gonna vote on the minutes. Or you don't have to vote on the minutes at all, there's nothing that says you have to approve the minutes, they'll just stay in the draft format.
right, they just have to be
Totally
there.
different.
Now, how's everybody's?
I did watch the meeting,
Yeah.
but I still don't think that,
You weren't on the board.
I wasn't
though, so
on the
think
board.
It's just a matter
Yeah,
of Tom
but I-
comes.
It's me, and there was a change. I'm trying to.
Yep.
There was a correction. Where was it? Do you remember where I saw that?
Just saw that today, yesterday.
I'm sorry.
There's nothing that says we can't wait till next time too.
Drew? Or can we come back to it a little bit later when
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
if I find what I read? I'm sorry, my apologies. I should have, I saw it online and I didn't have anything to
Highlight.
highlight it.
All right, so we'll
Keep
move
on
on.
going with those minutes. Okay, those are those old minutes where I wasn't here.
Okay, so let's move on to B. Review and approve meeting minutes 6/20/2023.
Make a motion that we approve the June 20th, 2023 meeting minutes.
Can I ask a question? On the 6-5 meeting minutes, there are two names there that were not on the board at the time of the meeting.
Mhm.
There are 3 that were. Can we correct those to reflect the correct select board members that were at that meeting or should have been at that meeting?
There,
Right now, they list Victoria Gavel and Amber.
I don't
Not on the
see that on
June,
here.
yeah.
No, not on this one.
6-5.
In attendance on the top page. there's
The copy
attendance.
that's online for the 6-5 meeting, for the signature
Oh.
page at the end,
Online.
I'll see that page.
unless it's been updated.
Oh,
The
on
copy I have.
signature.
that?
It's up to you guys,
Oh, it's a signature page.
yeah,
The
but it
signature
says who
page.
was present.
It should reflect who was on the board that night,
It does.
but there's still 3 to sign to make quorum, so
Correct.
it's not a problem that way, but for record, if you're gonna approve it, it should show who was on the board that night.
Okay, let's go back to that. We've got a motion on for the current. We have a first, we have a second? I'll second. If it hasn't been, has it been second?
I don't
Nope.
think so.
I'll
Nope.
second.
Okay, any discussion?
I'm reading as fast as I can, kids.
Okay,
So, Mr. Chair, point of order. Lindsay, I sent you a proposed correction to the 6:20 minutes. Was that,
Yes, so it went to the board and they have a copy in their packet.
Okay, thank you very much. Sorry.
But not on the agenda, right? That's not on the agenda.
No, it just came in.
Okay.
So we have a second.
yeah, we do. I was waiting for, like, she was reading. I guess under discussion.
I don't see anything glaringly off about it.
There's one more, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can we go back to the, although I found mine.
Yep.
Correct.
All right, jumping back to A.
The June 5th. On page 2, Mike Sakalas stated the board asked the Snowmobile Club to bring members, blah, blah, blah. Said the board shut down a trail and the club had to pay $3,000 to open a new trail. The board did not shut down. The board doesn't shut down trails. The landowner does.
But if it's just stating what he said.
Correct. The minutes are just what he said.
Did he say, I didn't,
Not that
Yeah.
it's-
okay.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, right.
I don't want to be accused of shutting down the public trail.
All right, so oh, wow. How do we still vote?
So then
Still,
we're fine. We can-
we still need 2 votes, so 2 of them aren't here anymore. and you can't vote. So it's me and Jessica, that's 2 votes.
I
And he
for
can
you.
vote because
I've
he
read-
watched
Read
it
it, watched
and
it.
read it.
Correct.
So
I said the board,
I got
sorry,
you, I got you.
it was a technicality.
All right, so I'll hear a motion.
So I'm going to make a motion that we accept the June 5th minutes with the correction of removing Amber Sweat and Victoria Gowell from the signature list at the end.
Second.
I guess I
I
can't
can't
do
do that now.
that. Any discussion? All in favor?
Night tree. Yeah, that cleans that up.
Did you 3 vote on that?
Yes.
Cool. I'm not.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That works.
I think.
All right, moving on, item 4. Payroll warrant number 54 in the amount of $23,431.12. I didn't see anything crazy at all.
I make a motion that we approve payroll warrant number 54 in the amount of $23,431.12.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Hey,
All right, accounts payable warrant number 55 for year end 2023 in the amount of $65,785.31.
So moved.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
hey,
Thank you.
There we go.
First
First thing till it's first of the year.
I like about this part.
Accounts payable warrant number 56, year end 2024, in the amount of $721,706.09.
School.
I make a motion that we approve accounts payable warrant number 56 in the amount of $721,706.09.
Second it.
Any discussion?
Just that $466,437.06 is to RSU 57. In case. And 141 to the library.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Hey,
All right, item number 5, unfinished business, tax acquired properties. Prior discussions to formulate a plan for the next steps.
So you guys don't have to like make any decision on this
Yep.
tonight, there's a lot of information in front of
Mm.
you,
Yeah.
especially for Vicki and Amber who reviewed this, but, you
I don't
can-
have an A in mine. I don't have an A.
Oh.
It's
Oh,
this
it's
big-
that thing.
It's this big package.
That's all the big
No wonder.
pictures on.
It
He said, I
wouldn't
want to
fit.
look at this.
No way. I'm like, what?
But prior discussion from the board, and this is several months ago, was that we were gonna kind of develop a plan before town meeting, so we would have an idea how we're gonna move forward with this land study. We didn't really develop a plan, so what you have in front of you is just the information we got, we haven't moved forward with deciding anything. So I did summarize on the second page, which is the broker price opinion that Peggy did, and that's what the binder is also, that's her, all her notes and everything that she put together. And so it gives you a summary of what your market value could potentially look like. And then we just kind of have to decide what we want to do. You don't have to sell all the properties. You don't have to sell it on the market. You can bid, auction. It's really up to the board.
Don't have to sell any of it. I would like to, if y'all would agree, maybe you will, maybe you won't. Probably most of you are up to speed more than I am. I would like to table it to the next meeting so I can have time to review it if you wouldn't mind.
Oh,
Absolutely.
enjoy that.
Oh, yeah.
There's
Yeah,
so
there's-
much
you don't
information
need
in
any
here.
That's what I'm saying. I'm looking at it and I'm like, I cannot absorb this in a minute.
Just to try
almost.
to figure out where everything is.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love the way it's put together though with the maps and it's very helpful and you can see that somebody did spend a whole lot of time on it and I
Yeah.
appreciate whoever put that time into it. It's nice.
So this
that's a
James
motion.
Thomas, this is the person that we hired as a consultant to do all these maps.
No.
No,
those
it's
are our tax
Lindsay.
maps from our website. So I put that
Lindsay
together. I put
Oh.
together the maps and the summary. That's
Okay.
what we started with. And then Peggy put together the binder, which is the broker price.
Wasn't there somebody that was gonna be redoing our maps?
Yes, and it turns out if you want to change your zoning map, the planning board has to have a public hearing before a town meeting, and we just
Okay.
didn't meet the deadline.
It's all part of the process that we don't have yet. Okay. Boy, there is a lot of information. there. And this is work that you did with Peggy
Combined.
combined?
Yeah.
I've never seen this before. This is pretty comprehensive.
If I may, have the board clarify, when you have a liaison on a project, it doesn't necessarily just die. So you would have to either vote, I believe you would have to either vote me out or vote me in to continue. Or not continue.
Thank you.
That's what
Okay,
we
do we
need
get
to
to
do.
do? I mean, that's a process I've not really seen like outlined in our charter. We don't really have a standard procedure outlining that. I suppose it would be up to you guys to maybe talk about what the best practice would be. If it's not gonna be Dave, the liaison anymore, if you want a member on the board to take on this. And he did a lot of work. I mean, he went out there and visited a lot of these properties and went and actually looked at them and talked to the fire chief and, you know, tried to get a lot of feedback as to, from our fire chief, and I think maybe from other, I don't know if you talked to our other public works department or something, to look at, you know, what's gonna be useful in the future for the town. And I noticed that Peggy also noted in her binder, maybe some potential public works buildings in the future, some properties that would be very suitable for that.
So Dave could continue on to be the liaison if we voted him. It
Would it
doesn't
be-
have to be a
I don't
select
think we've
board.
ever crossed that bridge.
Would it be something that you're still interested in working on?
As long as you would give me the latitude to, and Peggy would accept, to work with Peggy McDonald on doing it.
Do you want to put some thought into that as well as when we bring this back next meeting? And talk about it then?
Mhm.
And that way we can reach out to Peggy, ask her, and then we can package it all up next meeting. There's a lot of work there.
Yeah, I don't want
It's a
to.
shame to reinvent it.
Your head's in
Exactly.
It doesn't need to, I don't think, but
No.
I would really like some time to absorb it so I can get the full scope of it because it's fairly extensive, I think.
Very.
And
Well, it looks
See.
a lot different this way than it did on the little iPad that I was trying to, like.
I'll give you my voting.
I was just gonna say, I'll trade you.
I did
No.
it first.
I think I have one coming, so. Is there a way to differentiate this? You can have it. if you want. Is any of this tax acquired property?
Yeah, so there's a note, the first. You go down, so 13, you look at account number on the left side,
Okay,
13 down is town owned. Anything above that is tax acquired.
okay, so above is tax acquired, below, okay.
now I
Look
see
at-
the
there's a
line.
little note that says.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's why the ball fields number one, okay. good to know. That's really good to know.
Lindsay, are you familiar with the article that was in the MMA magazine about the legislation right now for tax acquired property and how that's going through?
I'm not familiar with a recent article. I have seen that a law did pass, I think maybe a while ago, that if you adopt an ordinance, is what I understand, then the town would have to give any money that, any profits they receive on selling tax acquired property to the former owner.
Yeah, I don't even think we have to have an ordinance. I think it's that, like the Supreme Court in the case that they decided, whatever the name was, I think it was Missouri, they said that, yes, you have to give the money back to them, keep your fees, but there's some legislation in going
But
through
it hasn't passed yet?
not in Maine.
Okay. I mean, if you have
So
any
there's,
information on that, I mean, definitely.
yeah, I have the magazine at the library. I can scan that and send that over to you. Cause I don't know about, I would want to stay away from selling tax acquired property until that went through. That would be
Well,
just,
some of these, they don't even have a book and page number, so I couldn't even tell you some of these, without the book and page, we're gonna have to investigate who is the actual owner
Mhm.
of record.
okay.
We have it in our Trio system as tax acquired, but I can't, look back to see
Okay.
where it came from.
Right.
Some of these were tax acquired a really long time ago,
Okay.
also, to know.
I just would hate to sell it and then there's a law
You
and then
can't
we have
hear
to
it?
go
Brenda
back.
can't hear in the back. She needed that translation.
They can't hear you speaking when you're facing that way, they can't hear you.
We're gonna
You're
have to get
be the
speaker.
speaker that.
Gonna eat them
I
up.
know.
We're gonna-
Like, yeah,
Because the air turned on, I think.
Sorry.
Speakers on. So.
Whoever shout.
All right, so we've had a
we're gonna table that.
motion to table this.
Yes.
I'll second that motion.
All right, any discussion on that? All in favor?
Hey,
Happy reading.
thank you.
Guess what we're gonna
I'm
do?
looking forward to it actually
I do, it's
because,
really interesting.
Yeah.
information. It's very well put together.
well done. Could have sat there today while it was raining and absorbed it, but I rode the coach instead.
Whew, here we go with this one. Franchise agreement, review draft ordinance, schedule public hearing, discussion from last meeting, item tabled.
You guys
What-
did ask some questions with Tony,
Yep.
and he did reach out, so I put that in your packet. So his answer is Shelley also put some notations in there to consider.
So I think,
I,
correct me if I'm wrong, but the reason why this is still here, right, is because there was a conversation about the fee that gets put on the bill going to the taxpayer, despite the fact that I think Charter Communications would still put it on the bill, whether it comes back to the town or not. And then the conversation about the ordinance process was had at the last meeting that we discussed this at, so. Some of that's just me refreshing my brain too, so.
yep,
That's
Is that
I-
how everyone remembers
yeah,
it?
how I
Okay.
remember it. Tony just puts it in such plain language.
and I
Oh.
was.
Try looking at the back of that.
Yeah.
I think it was the newbies that need to be.
Yep.
up to speed. But you've been through it. He's already up to speed.
So I just had a couple of things. One with the ordinance itself. On page 2, the first line where it says applicants for a franchise of franchise renewal. Should that of be or? Applicants for a franchise of franchise renewal?
Yeah, I would change that to that.
Okay. And then a little further down in that, the application should be filed with the town clerk. Do we want that to say town manager? Or does that not matter?
We still want it filed with the town
It
clerk.
doesn't matter.
What am I
Okay.
saying currently, so.
Yep.
And then Tony did suggest like maybe to ask the Spectrum for a list of towns that pay a franchise fee already and what the percentages are.
Yeah, and I reached out to Shelley and asked her for that, but she hasn't responded.
Okay.
So I will, as soon as I can connect with her again, maybe Wednesday, send her another reminder and see if she responds. She is.
Yeah.
Responds quickly sometimes and sometimes she doesn't.
Okay.
And this is posted, right, for the public to read?
Yeah.
Okay, just so we don't get all into it, everybody's sitting here, but please read the June 28th from Tony Vigil. There's no reason for us to read it all, but he's our consultant, and he's trying to help us wade through all this stuff. And he put some really good information in here, but he also recommended going back to have Shelley provide. So it's just back and forth between us and Shelley Wickenbacher.
Would it be possible to ask her too for maybe like a mock bill of what another town, like so we could see how they put that fee on there, so we could post that for the public?
Well, it is fairly straightforward to me, getting caught up a little bit in this, that it's between 1% and 5%, we can assess it or not assess it, and we can decide what the amount is or not.
Mhm.
Basically, that's what it says to me.
Correct.
I don't, you know that list of fees at the end of the bill? Yeah, it's on there usually. So. And this franchise agreement, has this already expired? Is this something we're catching up on
Mm-hmm.
a while ago?
So Vicky and Amber too, right now we have a franchise agreement drafted, and we wanted to get an ordinance in place before we signed the agreement, so that there's some protections for the town, that the charter or the cable company can't try to, pull some wool over our eyes or something. So that's where we're at. We're trying to do ordinance and an agreement. So the agreement's already pretty much at its final stage, as far as I'm aware. Shelley was willing to, as long as the ordinance mirrored the franchise agreement, I think she was willing to continue negotiating with us where we left it.
Can I ask one question about that fee between 1% and 5%? It's for the municipality? What is that gonna offset? What is that gonna do for us?
I think they factored it to be about 70,000 annually.
Right.
For the,
I wish you,
I'm sorry, I
he has
didn't, but
he has this unique way of explaining it all. And it's so much terminology, but man, he had this easy way of,
I believe.
I don't want to, go, sorry.
I believe that's over a 10-year period.
Mhm.
So it's $6,000 to $7,000 per year.
thank you.
We could verify with Tony and Shelley, I think too, 'cause she was supposed to get us those numbers that kind of show us regularly what it might look like.
Having been on the cable committee many, many years ago, before this contract we're in right now, the biggest problem we had with it was this percentage of income, okay? The language hasn't changed, it's all the same percentage, whatever the case may be. The problem with it was that they showed us how it was gonna look on the statement. And it's gonna look like the town is taxing the people.
Yes.
That's what the kicker was. Brought it to the selectmen, no, we didn't do it. And that was the kicker for the whole thing for this. And it hasn't changed in 15 years.
Right.
We're still getting taxed.
And it really
It
looks
is
like,
just-
it really looks like the town is taxing the people to be on cable TV.
Well, that's what they want,
And-
right?
and
So then
that's
they keep that money.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're keeping the money. They always
Right.
have. I mean,
They're charging it
it's-
regardless of if
a
it's
way
coming
of them-
back.
It's a way of them of saying,
Yep.
okay,
Making it look like it's our fault and not their fault.
It's kind of like the boilerplate agreement that they send to us. It's basically like, we're not liable for anything. Good
Yeah,
luck.
I saw that. I was just thinking of that and I'm like, oh, that's pretty convenient.
That's
it
good
also,
points.
it also says if you have a complaint, you call the town.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Not the
Cable company.
spectrum.
Yeah.
Tony has been really good at helping me understand
he's-
all of this because I'm like, what is happening?
So it's
So
for 15 years.
He has great
I
knowledge.
think we need
All
to
right.
just. So we're gonna try to get info from Shelley one
Shelley.
last time.
Is the
To
ordinance,
satisfy everybody.
the ordinance review committee already working on this?
An option for another cable
So-
company other than Spectrum.
Under, I think it's 3008, actually you have the statute right there. It says the select board has the exclusive authority to enact the ordinance without it going to town meeting. Just like if you did, there's a couple of things that fall into that category, like a general assistance ordinance.
Okay.
Another one I can't remember. So we did put it to the ORC, it came back to the select board.
Yeah.
We've talked about this a couple of times. It's kind of, it's your guys' thing. So.
So the ball
Yeah, I
is
tried to
in our
punt.
court.
Didn't work.
Do you want to
Nice.
bounce it back
Nice
again?
try.
No.
What do you want to, what would, since you've been working on this the whole time, what are you guys thinking about this? What do you think is prudent?
Personally, I feel we've worked this and worked this and worked this, and we were where we needed to be. It just so happens that the board changed, and so the
Yeah.
knowledge
Yep.
isn't there.
That's why I'm asking
And
you.
and that's why, that's
Yeah.
why I'm.
You know, we've come a
I'm
long
explaining.
way. We've done,
Tony is
tweaking.
just a crazy wealth of information and knowledge, and he just has this way of explaining it to us. I'm okay with where it is. I think we've compared town to town, big town, little town. We've picked and choose what we want and what we desire in our ordinance, and I feel like we're there.
Yeah.
And
That's what he just,
I would push to get a copy of a bill from a town that's already doing that, to see how they
word it,
would.
so
and
we
how it
at least
looks
be
at.
prepared. Huh?
Right.
yeah.
That way you have some idea of,
Then we should figure out a way to have a response to townspeople that, misunderstand.
The
or-
disguise.
or, Yeah,
Right.
what you're saying, it's, the town is taxing you. You got almost a PR type deal, if you
It's
will.
good to have that.
And-
You know,
Are
the
you-
history of the cable companies. and
Yeah,
How it all works.
So I heard Rusty's take on it. How do you feel about it?
I feel the same way. We've gone around, it's almost like the Oscar Littlefield Road.
No, because I was working on that 10 years ago.
Ordinance.
But Tony has guided us very well with this. We've really come down, we now have an ordinance. We've got a clear understanding of where this should go. With that caveat right there, he's pegged it.
That's good.
So I think we should go forward. If we want to get one more bit of information from Shelley, then fine.
I'm I feel the same way. I think we've come a long way. We've gone around and around about this. I would personally be okay just tabling it till next meeting to give Amber and Vicky a chance to really look at this and ask
Yeah, I
any
did.
questions they have, just because I know how overwhelming it was to me when I first jumped in, because you all had already been doing this pre-me.
Years with Tony.
So as much as I hate to
Oh.
delay it again, but I think it's important that
And maybe we
everybody
could get a copy of the bill by then.
Yeah.
fully
Yeah, that,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think
I would
that- I
like
think
to
that's
have
fair.
that and the, how they put it on the bill. Because I think that, like he said, we are going to have to explain this to the public at the public hearing. And it would be nice to be able to see, this is how it's going to be reflected on your bill. This is what it means. And
Also, I mean, the ordinance just gives you the authority. You can either have a franchise fees or not have a franchise fees within that 5%, 1 to 5%. It's the agreement, and I don't remember what we settled on the agreement. So you could, in your agreement, you could say 0% franchise fees if that's what you decided. The ordinance just kind of gives you guys the
option.
option.
Yep.
It really, from the way Brad Moore and Tony explained it to me, mirrors a lot of state statutes. It's not very different than your state statutes. It's just formal ordinance for the town for the most part.
And so, I mean, just to be clear, this is just the ordinance that is in front of us. We're not talking about the agreement
Correct.
right now.
Right,
Okay.
so we need that place
We will.
first, yep.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Oh, yeah. I've
Oh,
already,
it's coming.
I've
You'll get your
already-
turn.
I've already seen that, read some of it.
So I'm gonna make a motion that we table this again until next meeting. Sorry.
Do I hear,
I second that.
all right, any discussion? All in favor?
I,
Me too, yep, all right. Nice. Nice.
Not really, but necessary.
All right, so item C, I'm kind of just thinking that we just jump across because we're having a meeting in a couple days that we're really gonna go over all of this.
Yep.
So,
We're gonna put in there the workshop schedule.
yep,
yep,
that's perfect.
and that's at the
For
library.
Thursday at the
Oh,
library, right?
jeez, yep, I got it in my book, I would have got it wrong.
Will we have the ability to record it there?
So we can only record one meeting at a time. So either the ORC records their meeting or we record ours, but it can't be both.
Oh,
You actually can record it and then have it upload later to YouTube.
Well, yeah, that's true. Okay.
There was when we first started, there was an app on that laptop that allows you to record it there. The reason we went straight to YouTube is because it took me half an hour after meeting to upload it. I don't know if that's still on there, but there's a recording thing on there, or Brendan can show you or put it back on.
Okay.
You can record and upload after.
So it's up to you guys.
We
I just
don't
like to have
have-
continuity.
We don't have any recording equipment at the library, so if that's gonna happen, we would need to.
I've got a boat anchor I'll bring with me.
I mean, we could manually do it
here.
on something, but
Do you guys want to do that?
I have no problem being transparent.
I don't,
I hate
I
the T
prefer
word,
it.
but I'm throwing it out there, so.
I think
prefer
that's-
it in that, in case later on you're, well, what if, we
Okay.
talk about a lot of things, so if you want to pull some of that back to be able to know exactly what you talked about, there it is.
We're on the same page.
That's what I like.
I'm on board.
Okay.
I try not to forget what I said, but sometimes
Mhm.
it happens.
Moving on to item D, RFPs for architect, engineer, town hall expansion. Review updates tabled from last meeting.
Oh. These are all these things I like to table and then they come back.
I have gotten questions if you guys are going to award the bids. We have 2 bidders.
Correct.
Was there somewhere that I read or heard that because we didn't award it before the beginning of the fiscal year or the end of June, that we have to put it back out? Did I dream that?
No.
I thought somebody mentioned that to us. I think Mr. Nickel may have said something like that
I think
at that meeting, the last meeting he was here, still a road
Brad, I
commissioner.
think Brad was talking about his specific quotes for the ARPA funds that we're gonna talk about on
That's
Thursday.
what I thought it meant all
'Cause
the
the 30
ARPA funds.
I think
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
Expired.
his individual
His quotes.
vendors that
Okay,
for the transfer
bid
station
said
itself.
30
yep.
days.
all right, then that's my mistake. Thank you.
I don't
So
think
the
it's a
other one,
mistake. I think it's a
we're-
lot of info getting mixed up.
It was,
We've been
that was quite
talking
a,
apples to oranges,
Right,
correct?
so you guys met with
Clarify
him,
it.
Rusty and Tom and myself met with this bidder, and he clarified some of the items that were blank. He did verify he could cover that item, so you just have to do it, I think, through the subcontractor.
Two subs, yeah.
But so he gave us, I think his price didn't change. I don't remember, I don't have it in front of me. But he just
Dave, I don't remember the
clarified, yeah.
first numbers we were dealing with. Do
Well,
you?
there were the 100.
They were
100
wicked super high, and they were running
versus
percentages.
30-something thousand.
Yep.
I think the higher number, they were basically putting their fee on the square footage price.
Exactly,
of the building.
instead
That's
of
why it was
actual.
so high.
Yep.
So it was apples to apples, it's just that the fee for the lower price isn't as high because
Right.
it's not doing all that work.
And so my understanding too is like this would get us up to a permitting phase. You know, once we get into a building phase, we would have to bid out all
Correct.
that other stuff.
okay. There's, I see there is different phases, but I also see that the date on it was April 3rd at 3 PM, and the undersigned guaranteed the price for 60 days from the proposal due date, which,
Would have been-
do the math, that more than 60 days, a little bit.
Sometimes when we reach out and ask them, they'll extend it, but we've been tabling this for a while. He got us that information maybe
'Cause-
in June.
Yeah.
Took
I
him
think
a
part of it
couple-
was knowing if it was
Yeah, we've
funded.
had this a while.
I'd like to get this moving
They're
forward.
also-
wouldn't you?
Vicky, when you're talking with the architects and engineers, they don't have material that's going up and down.
Right.
You know, their computers and so their cost basis, you know, can be a lot stable.
Stabler.
So how about if I make a motion that we accept this proposal from Custom Concepts, Inc., based on the fact he will hold his price to this, knowing that it said it's expired within 60 days.
I second that motion because I was going to say something similar. Let's keep this moving forward.
So for discussion sake, are we funded at this amount?
We have, I think, in the town hall expansion, I think it's like 9,000 some odd dollars maybe, and then we also talked about using capital improvement funds. I think when we get to the building, so this will get us like the actual design plans,
Mhm.
permitting. When we get to that building phase, we are gonna have to look at, how we're gonna appropriate funds for that.
But that'll be a next step. This is going to get us to the next step, which
It'll give us the plan.
we keep walking. Yeah. I think it's necessary, actually.
So I just want to make sure I'm understanding this. Phase 1, is that what we're doing right now? Or we're doing the whole thing?
The whole,
Yeah.
you gotta do the whole thing to get permit.
And we have that in capital improvement?
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I wanted to, sorry.
Yep,
I'm like,
no,
we gotta make sure the money's there, people. Come on, that's all I'm asking.
that's good.
It's gotta be somewhere. We can't.
Continue forward, Jess. Keep
You
us
mean
in
we
check.
can't pull it out of the sky?
I'm trying. Okay. All
Out
right,
at my house.
there, I'm good now. Thank you. That was my
Okay.
discussion.
Okay, so all in favor?
Aye,
Aye.
let's go.
Oh, that's great to get that off the list. Nice.
Lindsay, you'll confirm that price will
Yes.
sit tight. Thank you.
A, B, C, D. All right. So where will I sing the alphabet away?
Moving on to item E. You can sing if you want, though. I won't stop you.
Can
Yep.
I? Awesome.
Discussion regarding advertising swim lessons at Kennebunk Pond tabled from last meeting to review ordinance and check with CEO department. Brenda, do you
we're
want to
just-
speak on this, or we just want to read what I got, or you good?
Well, I think between their concerns,
Yep.
Brenda's concerns,
Well, so to be clear, he asked us for approval and it's not our approval to give.
Mm,
So
correct.
we've passed to the
Mm.
appropriate departments to handle from here, correct?
And so maybe what I can do is just draft him a letter and let him know we've reviewed his request, based off input from planning board CEO. He's gonna have to go over to that department.
Right.
I think that'd be fair to.
Yep.
I do too.
Notice.
yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, I don't want to
Brenda,
be
thank you.
doing the planning boards and the CEO
thank
stuff. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, let's move on to item 6, road commissioner.
Chocolates in the fridge.
But did Brad already leave town?
Oh, I saw
No.
him driving too.
Is he?
Yeah, he was
I
working
wait.
today.
He was doing, Potter Shore Road,
He's still working?
gonna do a
No,
culvert
he's
and.
not, he's
I'm
not
just
still
kidding. I'm just
working.
kidding.
He's doing his own stuff, right?
No.
No,
Oh,
no. He's doing some
Of July?
maintenance.
Oh, good. I just want to be able to touch base with him. He's such
Yeah.
a good man. Yeah, I just want to touch base with him before he left. I wanted to cross paths. All right, so we got no report from the road commissioner.
But I did see our road commissioner at work today,
Did you?
working on Shore Road and Poor Farm Road, where the because everything stayed so soft this winter, the edges of the road, the wing plow goes
Yeah.
by and made a hump. He was smoothing humps because they were all holding water. And he was pointing it out to me the other day, and this is what I'm gonna do. He ended up giving me a ride. So he was talking to me about that.
I will
It
say
was
that
pre-July 1st, but
the
he's
big
pretty
dip
excited.
on Clarkswoods Road is gone, but I don't know what you call it. I call it the Swiss house. We all know the dip. If you're carrying a trailer behind you, you know the dip. I was psyched to see that filled in. I went camping for a week and came back and it was done. It was really exciting. Anyways, it's the little things.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing.
CEO, you good? She's great. Tax treasurer,
Good to see you, Al.
town hall expansion. We pretty much just went over all that. All right, new business. Boy, there's a lot of alphabets here. Review and approve order for special town meeting for September 11th, 2023.
It's my mother's birthday.
And this is for budget committee? Is that what
Yes.
this is for?
Yes,
Yes, okay.
because we
What
did
is-
the
this is-
shortened.
this is-
Yeah, we did the
What is it?
shortened process for
Shortened
budget
process.
Whoa,
committee.
whoa, whoa, whoa,
Yeah.
hold on.
Yeah.
So every time we've done any sort of town meeting, special town meeting, this is just an order that declares like the board is scheduling the town meeting. So that's all it is. This is making it official. You did the shortened process, you're good on that, that's for nomination papers. Now you're just signing an order that you're gonna hold a special town meeting on September 11th.
That will vote on the budget committee, that's all.
Right, for the
Okay.
budget committee, and then we'll come later as I will make a warrant.
I make a motion that we approve the order for special town meeting on September 11th, 2023.
I second that.
Any discussion on that one? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5-0.
Oh, wait, that's not my pen.
All right, committee applications received, planning board, 4 applications tabled from the last meeting.
So just to clarify,
Please.
there's one alternate position open, there are 2 vacant regular seats open, because those people's oath sheets were due June 30th, 2023, so they're no longer sworn into oath as the planning board members, as far as I'm aware. They did reapply, so you can consider the reapplication, absolutely.
Okay. And then Joe. Sorry. Well, because I'm confused on it, and then Vicky had made a comment somewhere, it said earlier that we should consider people from the dates that they were sent in. So I just wanted
I think you should consider on like, you know.
qualifications
expertise
and recommendations. Okay, thank you.
Just in terms of vacancy, if Cecile and Kelly got paperwork in late, they're supposed to be not formed in advance as to getting that paperwork.
Yeah, I guess we don't have a proper procedure outlined there, because who's responsible for notifying all these volunteers that their terms are coming up? There's nothing in anyone's job description that says you have to notify a volunteer.
I know 10 years ago, the select board clerk used to do that for us.
And that may have been 10 years ago.
Yeah,
but
and
it's
I
just-
get that, but I don't know when all that changed and how it got not passed on.
Yeah, and that happened to me when I was on hiring committee too, before this. It was
Yeah, me
like,
too.
oh,
I
Well,
didn't,
there's no, like, again,
Yeah,
I mean, when you get new
process.
employees,
Yeah.
there's no job orientation, training,
Moved
nothing,
up.
there's no
Well,
onboarding, so.
will that be the town manager's responsibility as outlined in the charter to write the personnel policy?
It could be, yeah.
it's all part of the process.
I mean, my reservations on it is if you're a volunteer on a committee, you know, when somebody applies for a position, they're demonstrating their interest in that position. If you're gonna wait until somebody tells you and reminds you your term is up, I might consider, you know, how interested are you? Some people do forget, and that's okay too, but that's my personal reservations on it. I'm not opposed to Cecile or the other person, reapplying or even being appointed.
And this gentleman, I believe, Kevin,
Kevin,
Yes.
No. Thank you for coming again.
Yeah,
After
I'm
the
sorry.
last meeting that you sat through.
I'm sorry.
Hours.
And so I will just own the fact that I was the one that just said, I want to make sure we have a clear process and that everybody knows. And I did see an email go out about that. So thank you for bearing with me. And you too, Dave. You sat through it too.
It was, yeah, well, it was just to be fair.
Yep.
That's all, that was my idea, because everybody in town that applies for a committee, in my opinion, is, that's giving of your time, it's important, and it's important to respect it, I think.
Yes.
However-
We do 2 openings in the
At-
office, we,
That's
I guess.
You want me to throw you guys?
Well,
Yeah,
As long as
please,
everybody
people
can
can
hear
hear
you.
you.
So wait,
Yeah,
just
we
out of
don't-
curiosity, with people who, Michelle Felicetti, with people you put on committees, whatever it is, I know like when we were on charter or like on budget, our terms are listed on the website. Is that the same thing with the planning board?
yes.
Where it shows
They're
their,
on there.
so, I mean, I guess that's also is accountability to know when you're up. And it's listed on the website. It's really, because no one reminded me my term was up for budget. I kind of knew.
we had that conversation. I thought it was up
We
in
did.
November.
So just a thought, it
But
kind of is there. It's on the website. So it's not like, oh my God, my term's up. It's, you're kind of there.
I've never gone to the website to see when any of my terms were up, and I get where you're coming from.
Right.
But I feel like that should not punish somebody that's already putting in the work, that already is up to speed on what is happening, just because
True,
True,
they didn't.
true.
true,
I
but
mean-
you also don't want to dampen anybody that wants to be.
I understand that.
volunteer and
That's a
is-
tough one.
And could be more qualified.
But how do you say someone's not qualified that's
Well,
just
just
spent the
we're
last
just
3
looking on,
years?
well, if I look on paper, just, I don't know, I
Yeah.
don't even know people personally, but if you look on paper, I mean, it's like reading a resume, very short resume.
Okay.
And I'm not saying anything against the current people. I'm just looking at the applicants.
One question I have is, you got the paperwork in, were they sworn back in for another term?
No.
They were not.
They have to be appointed by the board.
Those are 2 good people who have provided a lot of continuity. And
So,
to deny their seats was kind of blindsided with it. A lot.
I have a question. Did you just state they have to be appointed by the board? Because anytime that I ever had an application for anything I was in, you were sworn in, you were given paper, sworn in, signed it.
It's,
I'm sure they were appointed before or
Yes.
whatnot, but it's, the procedure is to,
you get appointed by the board and then the clerk swears you in.
Correct. And the paperwork is committee, board, appointment, and reappointment applications.
And then
So
your
it's a
term,
reappointment application.
your oath sheet has an expiration
that's
date
an
on it.
expiration
Yes.
date on it.
Yeah.
Correct.
So you're out of that term once that expiration, once we pass that expiration date.
Does the board have the paperwork that Kelly and Cecile submitted?
Yes.
yeah, they're all.
And I do treat, so committee applications, whether it's renewal or a new one, I treat them as confidential, so I don't put them in the agenda packet, because it's very similar to like an employee application. So it's confidential until that person becomes appointed. If you're wondering why it's not floating around out there on the internet, you try to just, it's got people's personal information.
I think we don't vote on them individually myself. I think it's a fair thing to.
One-on-one, is that what you said?
Huh?
One-on-one,
Yeah.
1-to-1, because there's 3. We have to figure out who's the alternate, who's the normal. Or do we? Yeah, we have to.
So I'm just gonna, I just want to pause for 1 second. I just want to put it out there that last year There were two individuals that were currently serving on the planning board that filled out their paperwork before the expiration of their term. And the conversation that we had as a board was that there was no complaints or things that had been documented and brought forward to the board. That's why we voted in favor of reappointing those two individuals. I'm not trying to muck this up, and I'm not trying to deter new blood from participating. I come from a place of consistency. So that's the only thing that I just want to put out there, and I'm not.
I don't want to get into it about that whole statement about things haven't been brought up, because there were things that were brought up. I don't want to get into it on individual people, but I think new blood wouldn't hurt. I know this consistency, it's kind of like up here. Look what we're dealing with, trying to get up and running.
Wow.
But looking at the amount of time your board members have been on there, what about the turnover? When do we get other people up to speed as time comes when people are going to say, yeah, I've had enough, I want to move on, where somebody else might want to come in to have longer longevity? It's just something to think about.
Well,
Values and continuity and institutional knowledge. And
Losing institutional knowledge is huge, but you got to pass it on.
Our chair has been there for a long time, and he is a guiding light for us, his continuity on the board.
no. So none of the term limits in the charter now pertain to the planning board, correct? I
Because they're
think I
not-
read that today.
Yeah, they're not elected, so there's no term
Okay, thank you.
limits. What is their term for when they're appointed? Is it 3 years? Okay.
My God, this is 3 positions. We take the 3, whoever they may be.
I thought it was 2 positions.
2 and an alternate.
2 full and 1 alternate.
You've got 2 permanent and 1 temporary.
Right,
Yeah.
3.
Alternate.
That's what- I can't make a motion, so I don't know how we want to pull this off. We can do it however anybody wants to pull it off. I'd be open to. I know we've brought up these issues in the past.
Mhm.
Many times. So that's my only.
No, I hear you.
Of the 2 that were received on the 21st, do you know which one was received first?
I think it was received, it came at the same time.
Same, okay.
And then lost it.
Your call, chief.
I can't take a motion. I mean, I can't make a motion. I don't know how we.
Do you have to state in the motion which position we're appointing them for?
When would you
Because
pick?
I didn't do any vote sheets for anyone, not knowing who to be alternate and who to be regular.
Okay.
And the alternate is somebody that's going to be there for if somebody's out sick or on vacation or whatever.
And one person to be vote person has a full voting member.
How many alternates do you have? 2? And
One currently.
Do they attend every meeting?
Yes, they do.
So they're up to speed all the time?
That's right.
Thank you.
And similar to what we spoke earlier today, if they're not in attendance but have better minutes and feel they've got speed on something they come in as a member, they can do so. As My apologies, but we do not re-up Cecile and Kelly and do a disservice to their voluntary spirit and their contributions so far, and their continued contributions to the town. And that the extraordinarily unexpected not to be re-up. Both credits to the board and credits to the town.
Something else?
Let me make this easy on you guys, okay, because I can see the pain up there. I think you should use this as a process moment, okay? Under this situation, when
Dave, can you go up there, please?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Under this situation, we have no process. You have a full-time person who resigned, you have a full-time person, a voting member, I'm sorry, who resigned, a voting member who is looking to be reinstated in a alternate, right?
Yeah, one alternate.
One full-time member.
And one resigned, and then an alternate.
The alternate and another full-time member.
Exactly.
Have, to their knowledge, re-up.
Right. So
Someone resigned.
my thought is a process, if you can follow my theory, is give them the benefit of the doubt. However, in regards to continuity or having other people infiltrate or whatever the word is to cohesively, work along these lines, then I think Kevin's a good man. I think you should definitely consider him. I don't know who is the permanent, but maybe you make that permanent an alternate. You make an alternate a permanent, and you have another permanent. That way, everybody's learning at the same time. You still have the experience of the voting member that is now an alternate who can guide, and I'll make it easy. I'll step away. But I think you should have a process right now and learn it so that it's fair, so that this doesn't happen again. Obviously, I stepped up because I thought there was 2.5 openings. So, but, I don't want to see anybody, I don't want the planning board to be disrupted. That wasn't my intention, obviously. But I will be happy to step aside as long as you look at it as a process. Like I said, I think you should shuffle some papers around and give different positions. That way everybody's moving forward. God forbid Dawn leaves. What are you going to do then next year? So you're going to have new people coming in anyway.
sound fair?
Yeah, but I feel that Cecile as a full voting member should continue as full.
Well, that's up to the board.
And I'm just suggesting as well, Dave, that Kelly, who was a full voting member, and then because of schedule conflicts, due to position as an alternate, has expressed an interest in becoming a full voting member again. One thing that we do with the alternates is to alternate them. If there is an absence, it would be Kelly that would fill in, and subsequent meeting, if there was another absence, Bill Single would fill in as the full voting member. We kind of go back and forth in terms of alternating it that way.
That's all I have to say about that.
Did you say a planning board member resigned?
Well, he did opt for reappointment. That was a public shift.
Okay.
His term ended, and he did not
Oh, okay.
desire to be reappointed.
So I know we're out of point order here, we're not supposed to be speaking back and forth like this.
Yep.
But apparently, one is
Yeah. This is a,
Your opinion is valid.
Celeste Hatch, Road.
So I heard Jessica say something to the effect that if there's no complaint against a member on a
That's how
committee.
we handled it last year. That's up my.
Correct. So
Yeah.
going forward, that should be the case. So maybe the board wants to look a little further and remember past meetings where there was a complaint about an individual. Okay, that's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
You got an hand way in the back.
Brenda Sharland, I'm the CEO, and I work very closely with the planning board. They work very hard. I'd like the select board to remember that this is a board, not a committee. It's the last stop before Superior Court. So if the planning board, for whatever reason, denies or it's not the last stop, I'm sorry. The next one will be the zoning board and then Superior Court, I'm sorry. So it is an important board. They're making a lot of decisions. They work very hard. The material they get is, you can't even begin to understand. I really would like to see the select board appoint boards, if not committee boards, like you appoint your staff. I think they should be vetted. I think that they should be maybe quasi-interviewed. Why do you want to serve, and how long have you served, and what's your thoughts on this? I think that's really important. I really do. This is a very important board. I think for the effect that they have on the town, they're probably second to this board. Okay. I think I would like to see you consider that.
Thank you, Brenda.
I think she brings up a very important point. And I don't disagree with anything she just said.
Okay, having said that, do we have that time to do that? And how will we, sorry, Kevin.
I know, it's poor.
We'll put a chair with your name on it with it.
Their next meeting is the 21st, and I
We got a workshop scheduled for the 12th. That's a public hearing as well. And then so subsequent ones. 12th, we've got a workshop.
Oh, I do too.
And / public hearing.
So right now you're operating at a disadvantage because you don't have a full board, correct? So we don't really have a lot of time to mess around, just for the lack of
We
better
have an
terms.
alternate, right? How would that work?
We'd be down to,
Maybe down to 3. So
we'd be down 3.
the elect was just one. Maybe there's not time for that, but I'd like to see that consideration maybe going forward.
Yeah, I think it's
I
good,
thought-
something to really,
I thought we were heading, I felt like we were heading that direction as it was.
Yeah, I'm sorry for the interruption again, but as you mentioned earlier, comments during public input. In times past, the applicants' applications would go to the planning board. We bring all the applicants in, conversation.
Can you go to the,
Conversation, not interrogation. Would ensue, and then we would give a recommendation to the board, and it's up to the select board to ultimately go with that or not.
and when did that change?
This is the first time that I've been on the board since 2011, and every time someone applied to come on, we had a conversation with them.
So what you're saying, I missed the first part. So you're saying the planning board would have a conversation with the applicants?
Right. And then we would
Make your
indicate
recommendation.
in writing.
So you'd be like a hiring committee, the kind of the way.
Screening of sorts,
say-
but but again,
There's your,
If they want to vet who they're gonna have on their board, I mean,
there's
So
your
I do
vetting.
want to point out, you do have a
Makes sense to me.
process in your charter. And, it's like right early on your new fiscal year, so I don't expect, we still have a lot of things in charter that we kind of have to still develop. And I'm not opposed to like the planning board vetting people and stuff like that, but it looks like your town manager, it says something about, it's through the hiring process or your personnel policy. But obviously our personnel policy needs to be updated because it's not current. So I mean, we're kind of in a weird gray area limbo. We could do it either way. But I just want to point that out, there is a little bit of a process already in your charter that, you know, moving forward, we're gonna get into that as we update some of our policies and procedures and stuff going forward. It'll just take time and some adjustment.
Well, with two new applicants sitting in the room, you know, that's, my opinion, I think, I like Joe's, you know, meet with them. And you can do that here sooner than later to vet them and bring it back to us. Would that give us time?
Mr. House up front.
I think you should make a decision now. I'll step aside. The only decision that you should be making, because you have an applicant, you already have two, you have all fills. Just figure out a process in this particular case. Like I said, you move a voting member to the side, make an alternate, that way somebody new can be in a position where potentially someday can be leadership. It's the turnover. It's a turnover that inevitably is gonna happen. If you don't shake that board up, I'm not saying to eliminate positions, but if you don't shake that board up, or any board up, then you're not going to, people aren't gonna learn. And that's the only way to learn. So I think you should vote now. That gives the planning board what they need. And,
Just if I may, your comment.
yes, sir.
Say if a new member came on and was maybe a full voting member. One comment that Paul Boucher made to me on his meeting with the planning board was, he wished that there was more of a training process, not probationary, but some sort of, again, training process, to come up to speed. For someone to come in cold and then all of a sudden you have to vote on stuff, I think it's mighty tough. I think that's one of the advantages of having the alternates, that they can, over time, you know, pick up the rhythm of things and then fully participate as we go. I don't think the planning board, and I know I've been on there for some time, Broadview, is sclerotic in any means. You know, we're not prehistoric and petrified. I think quite the contrary. When new stuff comes up to us, stuff that comes from a repurchase of something past, we deal with it accordingly with reason. You got reasonable people on that body right now.
So you want to step aside, you
I
said?
will step aside. I just to make a comment on in regards to Joe's comment, is I would tend to agree what he's saying if the person, the applicant, didn't have such a good resume and experience and education that this applicant has.
I'm gonna say, I'm impressed by the application. The man's taking his time to come here, not that, I mean, other people do give of their time, so I'm not gonna make one person's time more important than somebody else's time. But, I would like to appoint him to the planning board. Mr. Villu, is that how you say it? I make that a motion.
I will need to know as alternate or regular.
I'm not sure about that, how that should go. But I would have to say that as part of my motion, then I would say the member.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Just so I'm clear, is that as a regular member? Okay.
I have one more, if I may. Probably should have brought this up before that motion and vote, but maybe Joe can answer to this. But in this particular situation, you have an alternate there now. Does that alternate automatically slide into a voting position? Or does he have to be named alternate, or he or she?
Is my,
Actually, not necessarily.
We just voted a member, so I would think that the next one that we appoint would be the alternate, correct?
I think what
Well,
Dave is
there's
saying is
two-
just
two-
currently an
two.
alternate on the board.
Okay,
I would want anyone who wants to like slide into a regular membership that they apply. Just that they take the time to apply
Yeah.
and show that interest that they're interested in.
That's a good point.
It is- Again, you're starting to formulate a process, it's perfect.
and I think we do need to, this is obvious that we need to, and I think it does concern the planning board as well, and that maybe we should go back to that to get a recommendation, but right now, right here, in this time and place, maybe this is the last time we do it like this, and we figure it out, because it's kind of, seems a little bit silly to me, and maybe that's the wrong choice of words, but it shouldn't be this hard. I mean, we have people that want to be helping us, and
Yep.
this is an important serving job on the town, and to sit here and hem and haw over it for as many times as we need to, I
Yep.
think we need to move forward.
Another motion?
I'm looking at it in the, how it was received, and unfortunately, these two came in on the 21st, and I don't know how to pick one over the other.
Well, I think Dave is graciously, is Dave.
And that's what I'm saying. That's why I asked.
Are you,
I shall step aside.
you're firm on that?
I shall step aside for the continuity of the board, for the respect out of the planning board, and the qualifications of Kevin.
Take Randy, go ahead.
Why not just add another person?
Because they're dictated by the zoning ordinance. So the zoning ordinance, I think, determines how many board members and terms.
by the state, right?
And state, okay, yep.
Yep. All right,
All right,
so
So
if we're moving on, we need motion. Who's the
next,
regular person and who's the alternate?
make a
You
motion.
you didn't take a vote, you still have a motion on the board, on the floor.
We voted it.
5-0.
We voted it.
Sorry, I dozed off.
You can do that now.
Yeah, it's yours.
I think I didn't do that.
That's funny. Yeah,
That's right.
that's why that speaker was so quiet sometimes. Yeah.
Sorry.
Let's roll.
I make a motion, we nominate Kelly Demers as the second full-time voting member.
I'll second that.
Any discussion on that? All in favor? Give that.
Aye.
Yep. I need a motion for the alternate.
I make a motion to appoint Cecile Dupree as the alternate planning board member.
Second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
4-0. Okay. Just that,
Any
yeah.
opposed?
Nay.
Yeah.
Opposed.
Yes, right.
Can we work on a policy or work on something that we figure out who's responsible for figuring out when their term ends? Is it
Yeah.
Is it
so
the
I
town
think-
manager?
I think that's gonna fall under, I mean, we're supposed to be revising our personnel policy, and it says under boards and committees, part of vetting people falls. So we'd start there. and I think we can adapt some policies there. This is like a great experience to go and say what works and what doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a silver lining,
I,
maybe.
I think it's kind of exciting because now we have a new town manager position, and so it's gonna evolve into
Yeah.
whatever it evolves into, and let's roll. Let's keep moving forward. Don't wanna look in the back mirror anymore.
Okay, so
Process helps.
Yeah, oh, big
Process
time.
gives
But
clarity.
you can see that it does, and you can see us struggling over it. That I think it's important to do so.
We've been inching towards it.
um,
Okay.
should we table C and D?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
I make a
Anybody
motion.
Oh,
Huh?
Well, I'm just gonna add two things. So it says 2 applicants, 1 pulled out, but that was today. I just got a resignation, which the board will have to vote on at their next meeting for ORC, so there might be an open seat there, just so you guys are aware. But you can table them, it's probably best to do that.
Making a motion that we table items C and D.
Okay. Second.
Any discussion on that one?
I would like to ask why we would table it, but I don't wanna make any.
Yep, here we
It's just a
go.
curiosity.
Yep.
But I don't wanna be that way, so.
Are we in discussion, right? You guys-
Sure.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, for the comprehensive plan, we have 1 person who dropped out, we have 1 applicant, nobody else has applied for this comprehensive plan committee. I just think it would be silly to like appoint 1 person,
Mm-hmm.
then what are they gonna do?
Yeah.
They really can't do anything. The ORC doesn't have any vacancies right now, but I did get a resignation today, emailed during
Yep.
your meeting, so we will review that at the next meeting, which will open up a seat.
How many people are on the ORC?
There's 7 and then 2 non-voting members, like a CEO
My
liaison and
colleagues.
planning board liaison.
Is there a member of the Board of Selectmen that oversees or attends those meetings?
I just got nominated to be that person for ORC. Dave graciously nominated me to do that job.
Oh, that's the one. I remember that. Sorry.
Glad everyone remembers.
All right, so.
Yeah.
I'm down, thank you.
Stay tuned.
Are we gonna vote on that? We had it for,
So,
table and second, right?
oh, yeah, sorry.
Table,
Yeah.
second. We
Discussed
discussed
it.
That was
We
discussion.
discussed it.
Thank
Because I asked why.
All in favor?
Aye,
All right.
thank you.
Ladies. All right, committee application received for the cemetery committee.
I make a motion, we appoint Sarah Highland to the cemetery committee.
Second.
Any discussion on that? Are we all in favor?
Aye.
All right. All right, I actually touched out to a couple of these ladies on this list, Danielle and Kristen. I'm on the, moving on, sorry. Review and approve field use request for the
Mhm.
SMASH table from the last meeting for further review.
Yep.
I'm Southern Maine Athletic Sports Haven, really what it really boils down to are, these are homeschooled kids that this is part of their athletic portion of their homeschooling. I've touched base with the MUSC president. The times that they want the field are when they're not on the field. They're using the same goals, the same lines, and they agreed to work together. The only fallback I saw was the Y is using Ponganut the 3rd week of August. I think that was the only overlap that I saw on it.
That could be worked
And that
out.
could be definitely worked out, yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And then as far as, I wasn't here at the last meeting, you guys had talked about this. The way I understand this works is they go to the Parks and Recs director, Holly, and then she reviews, I think she must keep track of the availability of this field, and then she sends it to me to get you guys to approve it, and I kick it back to her, and she gives it back to the applicant. That's the process that
Sounds
I
like a
understand.
process and
Yeah, I
procedure right
know.
there. Wow.
That's how we've been doing it.
Nice.
Once I get into a manual, it'll
We
be
got
great.
one.
Can I just ask, because you know I love my
Yeah.
process. Is there like a shared calendar somewhere Like an electronic
Could be,
one,
we could
maybe?
make one.
I
Actually,
think
right
that's
now, I'm in the,
the
I
next step.
would like to make some form documents on our website, because people handwrite these in and then take a picture with their phone under
Yeah.
a dark lamp and email it. So I'd
Yeah.
rather just have a form, people can fill stuff out online, and then, yes, we can work that into like a shared calendar kind of thing.
Well, and I'm wondering too, if like mowing and field maintenance can be like blocked into there too.
I can tell you he does it every Friday.
Yeah, and I'm only asking
Yeah.
because as a Little League parent, we showed up and we didn't know that they were there. So we shifted to a different field, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying if the groups that are reserving the field know that it's Friday at
That would be
4
great
or
to have
whatever.
A central,
Like what's on the
a
field.
central calendar, yeah, mowings between this time.
Okay.
And he would call it if Billy for
So
sure.
Billy?
Yes. I usually get calls for, I'm starting double mowing this week. Okay, great.
Right.
Yep.
It's not a big deal. It's just
I don't think we're ever gonna get a dormant cycle. this
Double
summer.
mowing? What's double mowing?
He double mows in the summer, just at a quicker, different rotation than in the season when it's not.
Got it.
used.
Well,
Just to save money, so he's not mowing as much.
okay.
So my personal, I don't know, I can't make a motion, but
Oh,
I don't know.
do you feel comfortable with this? That this will work and?
I feel comfortable that
Great.
between the two leagues on there, that they can cooperate and make it work together between the
Yep.
two of
I
them.
think so too, and I can speak to Kristen Cunningham's abilities. She's
She
awesome.
was
this is a
quick,
great thing.
responsive, and she was extremely
Yeah.
nice, yeah.
Well, I make a motion, we approve the field use request form from the SMASH program. So the
Second.
main athletic sports.
Second that motion.
and so then just as far as discussion goes, does Holly communicate with them about any type of donation or
I take your sign, I don't know if she does. I can ask her.
okay.
It might not, yeah. I'd love to formulate something.
That's another,
It's another policy.
I know, and that's
Another- we're getting there.
yeah,
Yep.
yep.
It's
It
the
is.
first step to taking care of them is identifying them, and we are definitely doing that too.
I want to hang a banner at Bunganut, so I'll be the first sign person. All right, so do we take a vote on that? Are we in discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, I don't know if we did that already or not, but all right. Oh, boy. Did I just do F? F was not F, yeah, G.
Has our road commissioner been involved in this?
I don't see, it's a state aid road. I don't see
Yeah.
where you have any authority over it.
Not as much authority, but it's
Yep.
just informed and,
Our former road commissioner was aware of it, and then I can, because he's new, a couple things I want to get him up to speed with. So yeah, I can pass it on to him.
Just to make
I know he
sure.
spent some time with Brad to get up
Yep.
to speed on some things, but I can't speak to this. of course.
Knowing Brad,
Yeah.
I'm sure he tried his
we can
best.
just confirm that,
Yep.
that Tom knows and he's aware and.
So this is basically kind of like an eminent domain situation, and they've priced out the parcel that they're taking from that property. And so they, I think on the first page,
Yep.
Yep.
One of those pages, it identifies what they're offering us. They went out and did a market assessment. They're saying, this is what we're offering the town.
$6,050.
It's a very, very small parcel of land.
Yep.
We're talking like, Rusty, those big giant maps you have, those are the maps. So there's 3 of them.
215 square feet.
And yeah, it's like 200 square feet by something.
It's very small.
It's just a widened Route 202.
Oh, my.
Yeah, it's 250 square feet.
Anybody wants to see that? Big long chunk right along the highway.
The highway.
Got to it.
202.
For the
Yeah,
highway.
okay.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, these were fun to pull up on the phone.
Oh,
too.
God, that
Yeah,
was,
these are great.
yeah, that
I like that.
Just to help.
Just a process or a procedure question. Since you're going to sell a portion of town land, does it not have to go to you technically?
Well,
And
they're
then
taking
don't-
it,
Take
but
it.
They're
that's-
taking it.
yeah.
It's eminent
We don't have a
domain.
choice.
Sorry?
It's eminent domain
they're
by the
taking it.
state.
They're taking it by
Yeah.
eminent
Oh.
domain.
They're
They
just
said, hey,
offering
by
us
the
some
way, when
money.
we're taking it,
Yeah.
we're gonna
Yeah,
need 6
so-
grand.
Thank you.
should accept the,
Sorry, go ahead.
I thought they were buying.
They're gonna offset our taxes next year.
No, but MDOT did give us notification, I think, back in like November. This has
Yeah.
been in.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
gonna,
sure.
yeah.
This isn't
Yeah.
anything new.
I think there was a chance to go out and meet the assessor. There might have had a public hearing at one point, so I mean.
I'm sure Brad's been all over this, and this was for Buxton, Gorham, Hollis, and Lyman.
And so we don't really have to do anything with this other than know that it's happening.
do we have to accept it, or?
I
I
think,
mean, if you want to make a motion to accept this so that it's formal, because you do have to sign it.
I think we should.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Well,
I missed that part.
So is any of this little portion that they're taking a part of this?
Yes.
So we
And
can,
it won't be in that binder, so I can actually send it out to you guys on Wednesday, but Peggy did do, just on that one property alone, she did a BPO on it. And she found it's basically wetlands for the most part. She didn't feel that it was very valuable, not even to the abutters, because it's just all wetlands. It would take so much to fill it in and build on it. So I can send you guys that Wednesday. It's not part of that, because she did this separately back when this came up in November.
okay. But we would know to take it off of this, like we can,
It's only a small portion. It would,
Oh.
it would stay
Yeah.
on that.
You're still
It
gonna
would be
have
less land.
lot.
oh, okay, so it's not the whole,
Yeah,
por- okay,
Yeah, it's not the whole thing. It's
Okay.
just the edge. Yeah, it's a sliver
I
down
got
the
it.
side of the road, basically.
okay, I got it.
Brenda,
Yes.
So the portion that the state is taking, that doesn't make the remaining land a non-conforming lot, right?
It's a really big parcel. It's like, I don't know how many, it's map 9, 21B or
Yeah.
something like that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because out there,
That's
I
a-
believe it has to be
That's a
5
good
acres.
question.
I think it's definitely over that.
Could they do that?
But there's a lot of little streams and brooks running through it.
They're gonna do this project and take this whether we like it or not.
Right, right.
Yeah,
exactly.
so-
That's how that works. So if we take the money, then
Run.
we get it. If we
Where are we
fight it,
running to?
we lose money. That's what'll happen, then they'll get it anyway.
Oh, shoot.
So, motion to accept their proposal?
Yeah, I make a motion, we accept the DOT's proposal for the Route 202 work.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to H, MS Bike Event, request approval for annual cycling event.
I make a motion that we approve this based
Yes.
on last year's success.
Yes, I second that motion.
Yeah, they've been doing this for quite a while.
Yeah,
I remember signing these before.
I feel like it's just, this is a good group and it's been getting better, so.
Yep.
Motion, second, discussion,
That will,
all in favor? All right.
I was just about to discuss something.
Oh.
But it's okay.
Oh, you all set?
But for the, just for the record, for the townspeople that are watching and listening, that's Sunday, August 6th. The bike
Oh.
truck comes through Lyman, and please pay attention when you're driving. It's my public service announcement.
It's a good one.
It's a good call. All right, review approved policy on treasurer's disbursement. Oops.
I guess you guys have to renew every year.
Yep.
Yep.
There hasn't been any changes to it.
I make a motion to approve the policy on the treasurer's disbursement.
Second.
Any discussion on that?
Is this a bond?
No.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Right.
All right. All right, moving on to others.
These, the originals come around for us to sign,
Yes.
so we go.
Where's the signature book? Oh, it's on here. Yeah, we're good.
So I have another.
Oh, go ahead.
So I would like the board's permission to go sit at the transfer station with a little sign that collects email addresses of the town residents. I'll drag Michelle with me. And Also, maybe another sign that has something about committees that are currently have openings in it. So if you guys don't mind me doing that on a weekend,
You don't mind doing it.
Randy, if
You don't
you
mind
can point out a spot, because I'll probably need a table. Okay,
Way all back.
yeah.
I know in the past, there was some discussion and some changing about political activation up there, trying to collect signatures and whatnot. And as a result, there was a spot that was designated, but I'm sure there's no written procedure on it down at the bottom of the driveway. But I don't, that's,
I would,
there was some
I would think that-
contentious activity that happened up there, and people felt like they were being bothered because there was two sides to an entity. As you know, that never happens in this town, and people felt like they were being harassed.
Oh,
Yeah.
so basically
It's so-
during an election time.
It was,
Right.
it was somebody trying to get signatures, or there was an issue that was going
Yeah.
on.
That's what we
and-
should try.
People were trying to get their sides out, and people were trying to get rid of their garbage, and some of them didn't want to be bothered, and so it turned into a thing.
I feel that this is not even, it's not the same situation.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to be
Sure, we're
approaching
just looking to
anybody,
collect
just,
the form.
yeah, just
Right.
like I will have like a poster board hanging on the table, like
Give me your
want
email if
to,
you
want
want
to,
updates.
you know, whatever, want to get more town information, come give me your email and want information about committees. So if they want to come over, they can come over.
You feel okay
If
with
they
it?
don't, then they don't.
And we do have a current policy on just that, I think. I don't have the policy right in front of me, but I can send it to you guys. Something about soliciting like political activities at
Yeah.
the transfer station.
She's not doing
Specifically.
And it's not political activity, it's,
Yeah.
Randy in the back.
Yep, Randy.
As long as they go over by the shed, they won't be in the way of anybody doing recycling, won't be in the way of trash, there shouldn't be any complaints if people wanna go to them.
They'll
they
go.
to 'em.
Right, yep. That's great.
Okay.
are you gonna
No, I
bring
can't.
cookies?
I probably will have to, because I'm pretty sure I'll probably just be there reading my book until somebody comes over. So yeah, I like to eat
Looks like
cookies.
put you in the shed.
No.
I'll pray for no rain.
I'll come see you.
Oh, I will
You
make
vote
sure
on
it's
that?
on a day that there's no rain. I don't like to get wet, so.
Amber, I just told you, so we might get returned.
Yeah, we would get returned if you left us in the shed.
Vote? Probably vote on that.
So you can't really, it's not on the agenda.
Oh,
You have to
okay,
table it.
yep.
But, I don't know, you can have
And I'm
discussions. about
fine with
stuff.
tabling it if you want to put it on the agenda for next time. I'm fine with that. I just wanted to bring it out there that I would like to do that.
Legit, I mean, I got no
But even
problems with
under
it,
other-
but I want to be
Even
legit.
though, like, That's
Ma'am.
my interpretation of it.
So we're doing other next
Well,
week?
that's what I was
Next
reading
meeting?
that today, and I'm glad I read that, because I didn't
Yeah, I think
catch on to
it's-
that right away.
I think it's helpful, so you guys don't get like sidebarred, you know, like somebody just coming in saying, decide on this, you know, you
Yeah,
wanna
good
be able to
point.
like
Yeah.
articulate
Yeah.
and
Well,
do some due diligence.
Good- good
so
point.
it's important for us to let our chair know if we have anything we want to put on the agenda, correct?
Yeah, yeah, and
What's your cutoff for
typically
that?
before, what was that? We had to have a
So
cutoff.
I
We
put
do have a policy
Thursday
on
at
this.
noon.
Thursday at noon?
Yeah, just, you know, just so I have time to put together the agenda packet, get it posted online.
And well, yeah, I mean, after that, it's kind of a
Yeah.
decision, I guess. But,
Yeah.
I mean, there is a policy kind of drafted there, so. So we tabling, that was
Yeah,
on the
well, yeah,
agenda next
well,
time.
yeah.
All right. Yeah. Anybody else got any others?
I do have something. Something was put into my hand. I don't know what it is. It's to the Board of Selectmen when I got here and sat down. And so I thought that I would open it and read it to everyone. It's pretty sure it's something to be read. It came from Shirley Harrison.
That's not,
What I have, so she's got something different.
Something separate.
I don't know if it's-
I'm not so sure. Before
Should
you,
you read that and then decide whether you?
I have a feeling I know what it
we
is,
didn't-
but,
we didn't read this.
and I'm
Why
not,
are we not reading- why
I'm
are we
not
reading
wrong. It's a resignation.
Stand by, just 1 second, please. Just, no,
Okay.
just, we had another one here that came in late and we said, no, we couldn't read it
Until the next meeting.
until the next meeting. I just want to make sure we have continuity and transparency.
Well, then let's read both of them. What, I don't, I mean, I understand it's not on the agenda, we can't, but this is something that comes up.
If
It
it's
came
not
up.
on the agenda, you can talk about it, discuss it.
It's other, let's put it under other.
You can't make any decisions, so you can't motion to accept these resignations,
Okay.
right?
Okay,
Okay.
well, then that's the right place to do it, the right process to follow.
I'm not against talking about it, I just want to.
Yep, I don't think,
That's
go
fine.
ahead, that means.
Can I read it for the record then?
Yep, yep.
Yes.
Thank you. To the Board of Selectmen from Shirley Hay Harrison, dated July 3rd, 2023. Please be advised that I am submitting my letter of resignation from the Office of Registrar of Voters. Friday, July 7th, 2023 will be my last in that position. It has been my pleasure to serve the town of Lyman as Registrar of Voters. Respectfully submitted, Shirley A. Harrison.
Effective today at noon, I, John E. Tibbetts, officially resign my elected position on the Budget Committee. I also withdraw my application for placement on the Ordinance Review Committee and Comprehensive Plan Committee. I do this in order to serve my public ties, my public ties with the town of Lyman, so the harassment and slander I have received from a former selectman cannot continue. Since I'm no longer an elected official of the town, I insist that you respect my privacy as a citizen, remove info of the complaints against me from the Town of Lyman webpage. I also remind you that you may not use my name at any time in public forum except to read this resignation in the official record. Respectfully, John E. Tibbetts. All right. I got, anybody else, another? It was lost in the whole emotions and the whole everything of that last meeting. I'd just like to say congratulations, Lindsay. Thank you. You're very ambitious and I respect it. And it's only good things that come up. With that.
Well, that's right, we can't.
Thanks.
Motion to get out, to sign.
You know, I know I made a comment earlier, but this is the eve of a big holiday. Town office was closed, and you guys all took time to be here. It's probably the biggest crowd we've had actually in a
Very nice.
while. And I just respect that.
Congratulations, Kevin. Thank you. Welcome. Look forward to your service.
Thanks.
Oh, tell the world that the transfer station is closed tomorrow.
Yeah, because we went 71 questions.
Oh, boy.
So,
People on Facebook will
yes,
still ask that question.
it's a holiday. Transfer station is closed.
Yeah. So, did you speak into the microphone when you said that?
I feel like it would carry. I hope.
That's funny.
Don't go to the dump tomorrow.
Hey, Joe, before you leave, could I ask you a question? I just need to sidebar with you. Nothing official. We have to be on tape.
Oh,
You know, I've been in the habit of not calling it the dump. I've tried to be calling it
Yeah, I
transfer
know.
I do?
station.
When I said it.
Old habits
When I
die
said
hard.
that, when
No, I just heard
Oh,
somebody
yeah.
else say it too, and I was like,
Well, I
man,
held
I've been
up. I just
working
said
so
it.
hard not to do it.
And Amber and Vicky
Yep.
can't.
Sounds
Yeah,
like
no,
when you
that's
tell your
the-
kids
yeah.
that dad's going to the
File?
transfer
Yep.
station, sometimes they actually want to go, so.
No.
I just start.
So, yeah. She wouldn't have done.
Huh?
It's just too bad. Okay, I gotta put my stuff up.
Look at that.
So, you keep the
A lot
paper
of-
companies
yes.
in business.
Yeah.
What's that, bud?
I'm just talking to myself.
Oh, hold on.
Okay.
These don't need to be signed by anybody but me.
I think
Do you feel comfortable with me having that resignation letter from Shirley?
We have to, I was gonna give it
Well,
to,
that's a heck of a phone call to get.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna put it in the same packet. I got John to get it too.
please take it.
Yeah.
I,
Any of this.
Oh, let's see this.
see.
Here's the second part of the pile.
Thank
But
you.
we just- and it-
Yeah.
and
Thank
this
you.
doesn't mean, this doesn't sound
Pass
good.
those down to
He
Tom.
got hit better than I hit.
Yes, yes.
All right,
But
not
he
taking
just got
this.
his truck that he's worked on for a year.
Oh.
He just got it perfect, like the way he wanted it. Like, he came over this weekend and took us for a drive and it was like, oh,
Okay,
so
this is all-
nice. And so
This is all attached.
I hope when I call back, he says, oh, no, I was actually in Dad's car, because that would be better. I don't know what vehicle
Oh,
he's in.
Dad's gonna feel about
Well, we have better insurance and, you know, so, but if he got hit, it'll be there.
Whoa.
Yeah, we done signing?
that. No,
Yes.
Amber,
Yeah.
This is the other half of that pile.
No,
Sorry.
I'm just hanging to make that
Thank you.
motion, so. Can you pass me that, please? Sign that one there.
Karen Keener's running for budget.
Yep.
She just asked me to get signatures for her.
Yes, I will.
She'll be good. Just, I did ask Lindsay to cancel our quarterly meeting. We don't have one.
Fair.
Sorry.
Wow.
Not
You
sorry.
good?
Sorry,
I'm
not sorry.
Oh my gosh, dude.
No, I mean, did I, cause I'm not.
Tuesday night, we're doing
Help
the
you with that.
fireworks.
oh, are you?
It is scary. I'm scared. I'm scared. It was,
Okay,
I
those
don't
are
know
all
if I did, I don't know
signed.
if I did show you the photo.
No.
That was dropped off by the truck that had the explosive packets on its side. I was like, oh, okay.
Those the other night were pretty impressive.
Yeah, they were.
Somebody else
It was
there.
on.
I think it was 35 minutes.
Their band or whoever played the music till 2 a.m. I could have been something to do with that, but
Where did that come from?
same corner.
Oh, really?
And I don't know who has the cannon, but the 12:30 in the morning cannon shot has got to stop Wadley
Wadley.
Oh,
Pond.
there's one on Swan, I know.
There's a cannon, and he used to be really
Is
good about
everything signed?
falling in.
Is everything signed?
I've signed
Oh, we give
everything
it a
that was given
motion.
to me.
Make a motion, we adjourn,
Oh,
please.
I will
We have a-
second that motion.
all in favor?
Yoo-hoo.
Happy
Aye.
4th, everybody. Thank you for coming in.
Yes, you guys as
So,
well.
Go enjoy some family time.